Series Sweep podcast. We'll be breaking down each and every single Dodgers series for the 2020 season. You can find us on YouTube, The Series Sweep. You can find us on Twitter at The Series Sweep. You can find me, Eric Eulau, at EUlau. That is EEULAU. You can find me on Instagram under the same handle. Like I said, we're going to be analyzing, taking a look at every Dodgers series. They just wrapped up a 4-game set with the Giants. But subscribe, rate, review us, hop on Twitter, let us know what you think about these Dodgers, what you think should happen with the team. And just like that, we already have our first comment from Mustang Dwayne 32. Why are you wearing an exhibition jersey? Well, Dwayne, I'm in between loads of laundry, and I will typically be wearing a nice, clean Dodgers t-shirt, but I don't have one. So this is what I'm wearing, and I wish you wouldn't judge me. But I wish you would subscribe, rate, and review. Just like that, we'll get to it. So 4-game set with the Giants. The Dodgers inconceivably split the series with the Giants. They crushed them the first 2 games, put up 17 runs over the first 2 games. Giants scored 2. Everything's looking great. Everyone's happy. They beat themselves in Game 3, and then just get absolutely suffocated in Game 4. Now, Game 1 didn't start so great. Johnny Cueto looked really, really good coming back from that Tommy John surgery. I know we saw him at the end of last season, but this was kind of the first full season, fully healed, fully healthy Johnny Cueto. Looked great through 3. Dustin May for the Dodgers, he looked okay. He looked good, not great. I think I would give him a B-. He looked all right. But anyway, Cueto gives up a run in the 4th, and then Gabe Kapler just starts funneling in relievers because, we're not trying to win a game. We're rebuilding. Who cares? And the Dodgers just absolutely trash him in Game 1. Game 2, Ross Stripling comes out dealing 7 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts, only 1 earned run. Max Muncy with a pair of home runs. And I got to tell you, watching Max Muncy just hit pole home runs to right field at Dodger Stadium makes me and everyone so happy with or without fans. Game 3, the most frustrating game. I know on Twitter, everyone was losing their minds about Game 4 tonight. On Sunday Night Baseball with your close friend Alex Rodriguez. It's his birthday. I don't know if you heard or not. I think Game 3 is the more frustrating game because they had opportunities to win the game. They had opportunities to get some more runs on the board, and they hit into not 1, not 2, but 3 double plays. 2 of them were shallow outfield pop-ups where the runner just didn't pay attention and got doubled up on after the out was recorded in the outfield, which I know one of them was on a shift, which was kind of weird, but I mean, Jesus, get your head on straight, guys. I mean, this is a team that has won so many games and playoff series on not making mistakes and capitalizing on the other team's mistakes. And it was rare to have the shoe on the other foot. We watched the Giants, the fielding was sloppy. For the Giants in the first couple of games. The execution was bad. And it just got flipped on its head in Game 3. And the Dodgers were the sloppy ones. They're the ones not paying attention. And even after all of that, Will Smith hits a home run in the 9th. And you're thinking, they could still win this game. They were still in it. They screwed up. They provided 3 extra outs. 4 extra outs on the base paths total. And they still only lost by 1 run. So you're like, all right, we gave that game away. Game 4, we got Julio, which arguably is probably the most talented of the 4 guys that started for the Dodgers this weekend. You got Julio on the mound for Game 4, and he just didn't look great. He didn't look really, really good like he did coming out of the bullpen last year. It's just one start. He looked okay, but I think if where we think Julio should be, I think tonight was a little underwhelming. The offense tonight, it just looked like they were pressing. And baseball's a really complex sport, and sometimes it's really simple. And I think it's pretty telling the 2 games the Dodgers won, the starting pitching took care of business and didn't get them too far behind. Whereas Game 3, you have Alex Wood that coughs up 3 runs, can't locate his fastball, walks the first batter in 5 pitches. It's just a mess. Dennis Santana gives up 2. All of a sudden they're down 5-1. And then Taylor runs into a stupid out for a double play. But when the starting pitching was right, the offense looked good. They looked relaxed. And it's really early, but they looked like they were pressing. And I'm not trying to pick on the new guy here, but Mookie Betts, who I love, and I'm really happy about the contract, really happy about it. He looked tight in games 3 and game 4, which is a big reason why I thought we lost. The offense is going to come. This team is really, really talented. And look, it's just one series, which is why when you have Angie43 here on Twitter, Doc should be on the hot seat, and why is AJ Pollock starting? It's a long season. Well, normally a long season. It's one series. They split the series. They didn't lose. They didn't drop a game. And I'm not saying this game may not have some underlying issues for the Dodgers that may have some bigger consequences down the road. But it's just 4 games. We're going to figure it out. They're letting every team in the league into the playoffs. They're letting 8 teams into the playoffs from the NL and 8 teams from the AL. So that's 16 for you keeping track at home. Let's let them figure out the lineup a little bit. I know we've had a lot of returning players, and the whole leadoff thing, leading off Muncy against righties and then having batted leadoff and having Betts bat leadoff against lefties. I don't love it. I'm with a lot of people in the Twitter sphere who's like, plug in Betts and just, as they say in the old infomercial, just set it and forget it. There's not a whole lot to worry about. I'm absolutely with you on that. Cody Bellinger played okay at best. I think Turner hit the ball well. He had 3 doubles in his first 3 games, but the offense just absolutely died in the back half of game 3. And in the entirety of game 4, they did not record an extra base hit, which, watched a lot of Dodger games. It's been a while since I've seen that, where they've only hit singles. And look, going back to the game, I just can't get that game 3 out of my head. I'm sorry. But just to run into so many stupid outs. And Alex Wood, man, I'm sorry. If you're going to be the guy that was guaranteed a starting spot, you got to be able to produce, man. You can't be having starts where you walk the first batter in 5 pitches. That's I'm not going to say unacceptable, but it's just disappointing. This is, not a great hitting team. We don't expect this Giants team to be a great hitting team. You got to be able to go out there and attack with your fastball. You're a veteran pitcher. You have to be able to get that done. And when you're Alex Wood and you have a delivery where it's kind of, it gets compared to Chris Sale a lot because there's a lot of limbs flying around. You got to make sure all of his mechanics are perfect, or else he's going to really struggle in some games and get into some trouble. And that's exactly what happened. And I don't care how many extra guys you have on the roster. It's tough to find that swingman reliever to pick you up when you're pulling your starter after 3 innings. It's always going to be a challenge. And they still had a shot to win, in case I didn't mention. And yeah, God damn it, Alex Wood. I literally lost my train of thought because I got so frustrated with Alex Wood. But the starting pitching for the Dodgers looked okay. It looked all right. I didn't hate it. I thought they had some good stuff there. I thought Dustin May, when he has that 2-seamer running in on the hands on righties, looks really good. But to get back to a thought about the lineup, I appreciate that they're really patient at the plate, and I understand why, and I understand the pitches seen per plate appearance statistic, and I do think it's meaningful, and I do think it correlates to offensive production and being a top quality team and limiting your strikeouts. I'm good with all that. But when you have just a cadre of no-name relievers, which was another part of the struggle for this series, throwing balls over the heart of the plate, and you have Max Muncy and Mookie Betts and AJ Pollock and Kike Hernandez sitting there waiting for their pitch. That's your pitch. That is your pitch. When it's a fastball or a slider that backs up over the heart of the plate, you have to swing. Now, you had guys like Chris Taylor that had no problem swinging because Chris Taylor has never seen a pitch he did not like. But just to not be able to capitalize on some meatballs thrown over the plate was pretty damn frustrating. Really, really frustrating. And Kike Hernandez, I thought in the 8th inning of tonight's game, when the bases were loaded, even though it should have been a foul ball and not a hit by a pitch on Seager's hand, but whatever. Two outs, bases loaded. You've waited all night for an opportunity. With multiple runners in scoring position. And Kike just swings for the fences. This is a team, we go back to their hitting philosophy and their offensive philosophy. They've done such a great job of passing the baton, moving it down the line, not forcing, not trying to smash home runs every time. And Kike you just need to get a single. You just need to get a single. And they're even giving him an opportunity against a right-handed pitcher. And he can't get it done because he's forcing it. It's 3-1. Hit a single. You're going to score at least one because you had Bellinger on. You're going to give us an opportunity to tie the ball game up. And another interesting thing late in that game from tonight's game is you did see Kenley Janssen. 3 up, 3 down. He looked okay. The concern, as it's been for the last few years, was the velocity on that cut fastball. I believe his highest pitch was 91, maybe even 92, but it wasn't a lot. I still worry about Kenley Janssen, and that is the exact reason they got Blake Treinen, and you hear all the interviews with Dave Roberts. He's really excited about Blake Treinen, and he should be, because that's their insurance policy if Janssen can't get it done. It's a tiny sample size. It's 1 inning in a game where they were down 3-1. I'm not losing my mind about the velocity. And even when Janssen was at his peak, you saw him kind of start slow in those early weeks. And I know the season schedule, the format is different because of the 60-game season. I would hope after going to, and they even mentioned the broadcast, after going to Driveline, magical Driveline, that Janssen will be able to get his velocity up. We'll see. It's really, really early. The bullpen, I thought the bullpen looked pretty good besides Santana. They didn't give up a ton of runs. If you take out Wood and you take out Santana, that's what? 2 runs? 2 runs they gave up? Or no, 1 run. 2 runs. I should check that. Anyway, on the whole, 1 runs, 2 runs, whatever it was, the bullpen looked really good. And that is something they're going to need come playoff time. And that's something that Dave Roberts has definitely struggled with in the past with the bullpen. I know it's probably why half of you guys aren't even a believer in Dave Roberts. Dave Roberts is kind of like politics, to be honest. There's the left and the right, and there's not a lot of in between. I'm not the biggest Dave Roberts apologist. I'm also not a hater. I'm somewhat. Maybe I am. I try to be that guy. I try to be moderate with Dave Roberts. I'm gonna give him a week or two here. I want to see how they do in that Astros series. If the offense can't get up for the Astros series on Tuesday, Wednesday, then we got problems. So let's take a look at that series moving ahead. So you have Walker Buehler on Tuesday. And Walker Buehler hasn't pitched this year, obviously. Walker Buehler isn't all the way stretched out, so I think he's only going to go about 3 or 4 innings. The Dodgers didn't have their 2 best starting pitchers in this last series with the Giants. No Walker Buehler, no Clayton Kershaw. But I think Buehler, I would expect Buehler to come out firing. I think he's clearly a very competitive guy and uber confident. I'd love seeing him on Tuesday. You got Dustin May coming on Wednesday. The Astros and old Dusty Baker, your close friend Dusty Baker, are in full Gabe Kapler mode here with TBD for both their pitchers for Tuesday and Wednesday. Granted, with the Verlander news coming down that he'll be out for 2 weeks, I'm sure they're scrambling, and you have Urquidy out as well. But you want to see this Dodgers lineup get up Tuesday, Wednesday, and the rematch against the team that screwed us out of a ring. There's a lot has been said about that 2017 series, and I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it at this. And this is the one point that doesn't help me sleep at night, but makes me feel a little bit better about myself, or about the Dodgers, I should say. The Astros were cheating. They knew what pitch was coming in every game in Houston. The Dodgers still took them to 7 games, and the Astros were cheating. That is how good that Dodgers team was. The Dodgers still had an opportunity to win the World Series against a team that knew what pitch was coming. That is how damn good that team was, the Los Angeles Dodgers. I hope they're out for blood. I hope they absolutely, like everyone else, blast them Tuesday and Wednesday. Both games will be nationally broadcasted, so you'll get to hear some of your favorite people talk about our favorite team, the Los Angeles Dodgers. You just got to put this game 4 against the Giants, you just got to put it behind you and just forget about it. Just flush it. Just focus on games. Think about games 1, game 2, what was going well, where we were being a little more aggressive at the plate. I think they're just going back to it, just really, really complacent. So to hand out our Steve Pearce Award, which goes to random no-name guy who just had the kill shot on the Dodgers or just outplayed himself in the series against the Dodgers. We're going to hand it off to Brandon Ruff, the KBO's finest. He had the steal tonight and a failed hit and run that got him in scoring position, and he scored the insurance run to push it to 3-1. He had some great plays on the left, including a weird play where he almost smashed into the bullpen and the gate swung open. So good job, Dodgers bullpen catcher, for closing that. But your Steve Pearce Award will go to Brandon Ruff. Your stat of the series, I'm going to hand it to the 3 double plays in Game 3, and 2 of them were on shallow outfield pop-ups. That would be the stat of the series. The chemistry-changing moment of this Giants series, it's got to be Taylor being tagged out at third base. Right when the Dodgers were rolling, Taylor singles to start the inning. You got 1 on, no out. Peterson singles. You should be first and second, no out. Instead, Taylor gets in, tries to steal because they botched the relay at third. All of a sudden, you're 1 on, 1 out, and then there's a pop-up, and Peterson gets doubled up, and all of a sudden, the inning's over. Right when you're building some momentum, you're trying to cut into a 5-1 lead. That was the chemistry-changing moment of this series when it was, oh, wow, the Dodgers are actually kind of screwing up, and not everything looks really great. Those are our weekly awards, which we'll be handing out. Let's get ready for this Houston Astros series, the series we've all been waiting for. One of the small benefits of this funky schedule and season is, the regional play between the AL West and the NL West. We're going to get to play the Astros twice this year, which, under normal circumstances would never, ever happen in standard interleague play. I think it's a great opportunity. It's a great chance to get rid of some of the frustrations from the series that we just watched that was almost seemed like 2 different series, to be honest. Thursday, Friday was, this is awesome, high fives, beers are on me. Saturday, Sunday was, I'm going to go home and cry by myself, watch a really bad rom-com and tell nobody about it. Just beyond frustrating. Almost 2 different Dodger teams. Fielding wise, I don't have much to say. I thought they looked good out there with the leather. There weren't any big screw ups, but the base running in Game 3 killed it, and just the complacency at the plate in Game 4. Look, I'll end it on this. Let's give credit where credit's due with the San Francisco Giants. I know we're going to talk about, it's the gamesmanship of not announcing a starter. I don't blame them. They got to take every advantage they can. There's absolutely no rule that you have to clearly communicate your starter, and the Dodgers have so much more talent than the Giants. We should be able to overcome the fact that they're going to have guys like named Logan Webb, who actually pitched really well, starting games. I mean, just get over it. Just get absolutely over it. Look, that's the way they're going to have to win games. They're going to use openers. They're going to have guys who, pitch 2 innings, and then they're going to use 9 different relievers because it's Gabe Kapler to try to win ball games. And that's, what? That's fine. I get it. I don't know if the math works on 9 relievers in a 10-inning game. Anyway, give credit where credit's due. They had a great game plan. They split a series that no one expected them to split, and I hope we absolutely crush them like we did in the first 2 games in the next series. I lied. That's not the last thing. We got to get to 2 more things. 3 more things, actually. Sorry. The first one, the Mookie Betts contract, $365 over 12. I'm good with it. Look, they didn't pull the trigger on so many guys. You look at Rendon, you look at Garrett Cole, you look at Bryce Harper, you look at Manny Machado, not re-signing him. They were waiting for the perfect player for their team to spend that kind of money on. And Mookie Betts, if you look at they had a great infographic tonight with the career WAR through his first 6 seasons. He's up there with, Mickey Mantle and Ted Williams and Mike Trout. When you have an opportunity to lock a guy up like that long term, you do it. And the alternative is losing the asset for nothing, letting him test the open market. Just because I hope he finishes this contract with the Dodgers. I really do. But just because he signed for this contract for how long it is, doesn't mean he's going to finish it with the Dodgers. And for the Dodgers, you still have an asset. Because if you try to renegotiate in free agency, you never know what can happen. They had an opportunity to get the extension done, and they did it. This may not end well. And yes, I know armchair quarterback. The 36-year-old season for Mookie Betts probably isn't going to be great. But if we can get a ring out of this, it's worth it. It's worth it. If we can get one championship because of Mookie Betts, or largely because of Mookie Betts, that transaction is absolutely worth it. But two examples I'll talk about. And I'm not for a second am I abdicating him to be traded. But we have a glut of new $250 million plus players that have just been signed in the last few years. I just rattled a few of them off. But if you look at the precedent, you may not finish that contract with the team. Robinson Cano signed for $240 million with Seattle, got traded. Suspect number one, Alex Rodriguez, the 10-year deal back in 2000, which seems like a lifetime ago, with the Texas Rangers, $252 million over 10. He got traded. Giancarlo Stanton, massive contract with the Marlins. He got traded. They still have an asset. The Dodgers, even if Mookie Betts starts going downhill, you still have the ability to trade him. I'm saying that rather than just letting him walk in free agency. Players like that, if you have the ability to keep them and get their prime years of production, you absolutely have to do it. I don't fault them for a second. Everyone don't freak out. It's going to be okay. He just seems to be an incredible fit. Thing number two, Clayton Kershaw's back. Obviously a late scratch for opening day. Just really disheartening to see that alert. You know, there's some alerts you like to get on your phone, there's some you don't. And you don't like to get Clayton Kershaw injury updates. Apparently it was just done in the weight room, doing some exercises. He should be back. He's going to travel with the team in Houston. He threw a little bit yesterday. He's going to throw a little bit today. I think having him healthy for the middle and end stretch of this series is going to be the most important thing. So I'm all good with that. As I get some water. Thing number three, and I'll actually end it on this, I promise. Gavin Lux did not break camp on the 30-day active game day roster. Pretty upsetting. He was supposed to be, although it was an open competition for second base, you thought he would just have won the spot clean and fair. But I will say this. I think life is all about expectations. Not an original quote, but think life is all about expectations. And as Dodger fans for the last 3, 4, 5 years, think about the young guys we've brought in from our farm system, how successful they've been. And there's three main guys who have set the bar really, really high. I'm talking about Walker Buehler, I'm talking about Cody Bellinger, I'm talking about Corey Seager. You have Corey Seager, who finishes top 5, wins the Rookie of the Year, finishes top 3, I believe, in the MVP voting that year. You have Cody Bellinger, we all know what he's done, but bursts onto the scene, hits 1 million home runs his rookie year, has a slight regression his sophomore year, then kicks ass, and obviously took home an MVP to boot. And then Walker Buehler you have who's grown to the ace of the staff, the absolute ace of the staff. I'm sorry, no disrespect to Clayton Kershaw, but if you had one playoff game to win, I think right now most Dodger fans would want Walker Buehler in there. Expectations are high for us for rookies, and we just all expected Lux to get plugged in as the everyday second baseman to start this year and to just hit 295 and just look absolutely great. And I don't know why he showed up to camp late. No one has dug that up yet, and at this point, I don't really care. He's at USC, doing some additional training, trying to get his swing right. As Dave Roberts said, the swing just didn't look right. It's not the end of the world, but because we expected Lux to be so good, because we saw what happened with Cody Bellinger, we saw what happened with Seager, we saw what happened with Buehler, and because of how stacked our farm system has been and how successful it's been bringing up players, and even if you get down to a Tony Gonsolin last year and a Dustin May, filling in roles, coming up from the farm and providing production for us, even Edwin Rios, I think the expectation is every young guy we bring up is going to be nails, and he's going to be plugged into the spot that's now, up for grabs between Chris Taylor, and Kike. And he didn't take care of it. But because we were expecting him to be this great, incredible player, we were expecting him to be on the opening day roster, and he could still be great. But because we were expecting to be on the opening day roster, we were that much disappointed when he wasn't. So that'll do it for the series sweep. This is episode 1. We just split with the Giants. I don't know how. Well, I do know how. I hopefully just described it in about 25 minutes to you. We're moving ahead to the Astros Tuesday and Wednesday. I believe after that it is the Diamondbacks, good old Snakes. But look for us back on YouTube. We'll be recapping that Astros series, which, goddamn, I hope we step on their throats. But thank you, as always, for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening and subscribing on Twitter, and we'll see you next time.